Hello everyone, this is Extra Null Byte, and today we'll be downgrading a console from version 11.2 to 9.2. Although, before I proceed, I want to mention that this does require you to have a modded console. Now, if you don't have a modded console, then this video isn't for you. This is a bit more advanced. So, if you do have a modded console, you can proceed. Now, we want to check what version our console is. To do that, just basically go to settings and take note of your version. This is gonna come into play a bit later on once we start getting into Soundhax and other apps. So just take note of this. As you can see here, my version is 11.2.0 35E. Now this is important, take note of that. Especially this little letter at the end. This identifies what type of a console you have, from what region. As you can see, my one says E, indicating that this is from Europe. Okay, so once you have taken note of that, we can exit. Awesome. Now, you want to connect your 3DS to the computer. Now, do I say computer weird? Yes, I probably do. Anyway, beside the point. We want to connect this to the computer and reboot it into the blue screen, the debug mode. So, I'll go ahead and turn this off. And I'll go ahead and connect it using my port that I installed. Now, you don't want to plug it into your computer yet, just make sure that it's connected to the SD card. So once I boot in, I should have a blue screen. It might look purple on the video, but trust me, it's blue. Alright, so once you have this, it should say boot from 8046 or some other number, but I believe it's the same on all consoles. It should say boot from whatever. Once you have that, go ahead and plug it into your computer. So I'll remove my SD card reader and plug in this one here. As you can see. Now, if you get any pop-ups on your screen that says you need to format this, blah blah blah, just cancel out of all of that. Cancel out. It's gonna give you a message that location is not accessible. That's alright. We don't want to format the console. Now for this you're gonna need a program called Win32 Disk Imager. It looks like this, and the download link is in the description below if you need it. Once you have it installed, fire it up and you'll see this interface. Now on this interface you want to make sure that you have your 3DS selected here. For me it's located on drive E. For you it might be different, so just make sure that you have your 3DS selected there. And the next thing is you want to click on this little folder icon, and that's going to let us choose the save location of our NAND. So go ahead and choose that and save it to the desktop. Now, you can save it wherever you want, but to stay consistent with the video, save it to the desktop. And give it a name of nand.bin. Alright, once you called it nand.bin, go down here and choose the little asterisk as the file type. Now that's going to make sure that the file is saved as nand.bin. At this point, these two buttons should light up. Go ahead and press the read button. Now this step is going to take a couple of minutes depending on the speed of your SD card and the speed of your USB port and so many factors, so just let it run for a couple of minutes. I will speed this up so that we don't have to sit here and wait for it forever. Alright, once that's done you should see a message that says read successful. If you get anything else other than read successful, try again. Because we need full NAND from your console. We can't have any errors or anything like that, so this is very important, unless you want to mess up your 3DS and have it brick. Anyway, once it's read successfully you can click OK, and you can leave this here for the time being. You don't need to close it. Now that you have your NAND dumped, we need to apply a patch to it. And the program we'll use to apply a patch is called the AutoFirm. Now, I'm not sure on the details, but What it's supposed to do is it should patch certain bits of code to make the console think it's version 10.7. Now that's going to allow us to bypass certain things and downgrade our console. Okay, with that in mind, we need to download the auto firmware. Now I have compiled a list of downloads that you need for this to work. The links are going to be in the description to this post that I made on my blog. So once you have that loaded up, we can go ahead and download the auto firm. So go ahead and click on the download link. Okay, just wait a few seconds. Okay, so once there, just click on download through your browser and just give that a second or two to download. Okay, save it to the desktop as well. Alright, once that's done, go ahead and take the file and extract here. Now all the needed files are here for you. You don't have to do anything else other than take the NAND that you backed up from your console, the NAND.bin, and paste it inside this folder. So just drag it in or do whatever you want. Right click, copy and paste. It's up to you. Now the name has to be NAND.bin. If you don't see that, just make sure that you have extensions shown. So you can go to view and file extension or file name extensions, make sure it's checked. Right, so with that you can see it's nand.bin. So now when you have that, go ahead and click on autofirm English. Unless you're Italian, you can go with autofirm ITA, but since we're gonna go with English, we can go there. Click run and follow these instructions here. Now it says press any key to continue. Now I'll press enter. Now in this menu here, choose what kind of console you have. If you have a new 3DS, go ahead and press 2. If you have an old 3DS or a 2DS, press 1. Since I have the old, I'll go with 1 and press enter. Now in this menu it says you have selected the old 3DS. Choose your current firmware. Here, choose the current version of your 3DS. My one is currently on 11.2, so I'm gonna go with 3. If your 3DS is on 11.0 or 11.1, choose the appropriate option. I'm gonna go with 3 here. There we go. It says a patched NAND file has been generated. There we go. Now we can go ahead and close this. To confirm that this worked, we need to look for 2 files. One is called the backed up NAND. If you don't see this file, just double check that your NAND was named correctly. And the next file that we need to look for is the original NAND.bin. Now what we need to do is flash this NAND.bin back to our console. And we're gonna do that using the Win32 imager. So go ahead and you can either close this or minimize it, it doesn't really matter. So go ahead and open the Win32 disk imager and click on the browse button to locate that NAND.bin. For us it was on the desktop in a folder called autofirmware 11.2. Now if you don't see anything here, make sure that this little drop down menu here is set to ***, which is going to show every file. And scroll down until you see nand.bin. So go ahead and click open. Now, just double confirm that the path is set to autofirm _11.2 /nand.bin. This is the patched file that we're gonna put back on the console. So once you have that selected, click on the right button. And then press yes. Now this is gonna take some time as well. Alright, once that's done, you should see a bright successful message. If you see anything else, just try again and reflash the NAND to the console. Alright, with that successfully done, you can go ahead and click OK, and at this point you can close the disk imager since we are done with it. Now, back to the console. Now the console, you want to power off the device, so go ahead and hold the power button down for about 15 to 20 seconds. Just hold the button down for 15 seconds and it should power off. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and unplug the 3DS from the computer. So I'll just go ahead and pull it from the USB, and then I'll also remove it from the console. There we go. And we can put this aside since we're not going to need it anymore. Okay, let me get that in frame. There we go. Now we can go ahead and power up the console. Now, here's the thing. We just flashed version 10.7 or whatever it is onto the console. We patched that NAND, but if we go to the settings, it's still gonna say it's 11.2. Now, this is not a mistake. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. The console is still the latest version. Now this is where most of the downgrades would halt, as there's just no way to get into the browser hack. It's impossible. There were some workarounds using proxies and this and that, and it worked on some consoles and it didn't on the other. Now that we have the Soundhax, we can go ahead and bypass that altogether. To get that started, we need to take out the SD card. So go ahead, take your SD card out, and plug it into your SD card reader, and plug it into your computer. Now if you have any other SD card readers or whatever, use that. Okay, now back to the computer. There are a couple of things that we need to download. Again, now I have compiled a list of the things that we need to download and try to make it as simple as possible. So the first thing that we need is the base.zip. So go ahead and download that. What base.zip is, it's just basically a starter.zip that you would get from the browser hack website, but I removed all the unneeded things just to make this much faster. So once you're there, just click on download or download through your browser and just wait for it to download. Now save it to the desktop and go ahead and open it. Inside it you should see a folder called base, so just double click inside that as well. Now inside that folder you should see three files: themes, 3ds and boot.3dsx. So take all three of them and copy them to the root of your SD card. Now the root of your SD card might not look exactly the same as mine. My one has nothing on it since I keep formatting it to do tutorials and this and that, but your one might look different. So in that case, just take these three files and copy them to the root. If you get any conflicts, like file overrides or whatever, just go ahead and override the files. Now we are done with the boot.zip. Keep your SD card opened for the time being, because we'll need to copy a couple of more things to it. Now the next thing that we need is the Soundhax. So again, I have a link here. Just click on the Soundhax and let's just skip this. Now here, based on your 3DS version that you got from at the start of this video, it would say either version whatever E or version, it would either say version 11.2 point whatever, E for Europe, U for USA, J for Japan and K for Korea. Since my console is a European version, I'm gonna choose Europe as the region, and the console type, you choose either or. You either have an old 3DS or a new 3DS. My one is an old 3DS, so I'm gonna choose that. Now this button should become clickable. Click on download M4A, which is just the file type. So with that, go ahead and locate your SD card. In my case, it's this one here, and save it to the root of your SD card. And that's on the same level as the 3DS folder, Nintendo folder, and themes folder. You should see them on your 3DS card. Okay, so click save, and that's gonna download that Soundhax. Okay, we can close out of that since we're done with that. Awesome. Now the next thing that we need is the other app. So go ahead and click on the download link. You can click on this to skip the wait time. And scroll down until you get to the other app, Robin Payloads. Now again, this is where you need your 3DS version. Now choose your 3DS type, which is either old or new. I have an old 3DS. It's version 11.2.0.35 and it's E. And then click on download other app. Okay, at this step you can either name it here or rename it after, but the actual name of this should be otherapp.bin. So go ahead and type in otherapp.bin. Once you have that, go ahead and click save. Now this file should be saved to the root of your SD card as well, if I haven't mentioned that. We are almost done. The last thing that we need is the actual update files for the version 9.2. Now in our case we are downgrading, but there's still files that are needed to downgrade. So choose the version of your 3DS that you have. It's either old or new again. Since I have old, I'll be looking at these links here. Specifically, if you have a new 3DS, you'll be looking at these links here. Okay, so I'm in Europe, so I'm gonna choose the first link. If you're in America or USA, choose this one. Japan, this one. I haven't seen the Korean one, so once I find it, I'll have it here, but anyway, click on the download link. Okay. Go ahead and click on download through your browser. So once that's done downloading, you can go ahead and save the file to your desktop. So save, and go ahead, open it. Either open it or extract it. I'll just go ahead and click extract to 920 and so on and so on. Okay, so once that's extracted, go ahead and open it. Inside you should see a folder called updates. Take the whole thing and drag it into the root of your SD card. Now with that on, your SD card should look something like this. You should have a 3DS folder, you should have a themes folder, you should have an updates folder, you should have a boot.3dsx, you should have otherapp.bin, and you should have the Soundhax for your version of the console. Now with that, you can go ahead and close, eject your SD card from the computer and plug it back in your 3DS. So go ahead and plug it into the 3DS. There we go. Okay, once we have the card inside, you can go ahead and click OK here. Now, go to the music player, which is a blue icon, something like this, so go ahead and click it. Now press next on these initial pop-ups that come up, and press the down button until you get to the SD card folder. Now either click A or click open, they do the same thing, so once you're there you should see only one file, unless you have more music or whatever, but go ahead and choose the Networld 2016. Now that's gonna cause a crash. If your console freezes at that point, just reboot and try again. Now you should only see like 2 apps here. The one that we're looking for is called the 3Ds Downgrader. It's already included in the base.zip that we downloaded, so go ahead and start it up. Alright, so you should see a couple of instructions here that says update, downgrade, test the hacks or exit. Now what you want to do is press Y to downgrade. It should start scanning the files in your SD card to make sure that all the files are good. So give that a couple of minutes to complete. Now if any files turn out as invalid or broken, just re-download the update folder for 9.2 and that should hopefully solve the issue. You should see all of these files come out as verified. Now once everything is verified, you should see this line here that says verified firmware files successfully, and now it's going to start installing them. So just leave that for a couple of minutes. Make sure your 3DS is plugged in and charging so it doesn't run out of power, and do not power it off. Never power off a console during updates in general, and do not take out the SD card, else that's gonna brick your console. So just leave that to install for a couple of minutes. Once this is done, the console is gonna reboot on its own. As you can see here, updates have been installed, rebooting in 10 seconds. Alright, once that's done, you should be back to your home screen with a couple of pop-ups here and there advertising the new themes, which is all good. And now if we go back to settings and just make this a bit smaller. So once we go to settings, you should see version 9.2.0. Congratulations! You are done. Now this has been Extra No Bite, and if you liked this video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the description, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe for other updates and new hacks and so on and so on. Anyway, cheers!